Alright, so before we get into the massive new TSW5 patch that just dropped today, we've got to talk a little bit about this Thomas the Tank Engine stuff, because I really don't know what to say anymore at this point. So out of nowhere, Dovetail drops the Thomas and Friends 80th anniversary expansion. Yeah, this is a thing now apparently. It's not free, and nothing's going to be included if you own the original Thomas DLC. It's $10 US, 8 British pounds, or 10 euros. And I genuinely almost laughed myself to death reading this. I get that Thomas has a niche audience. That's fine. I understood that with the first pack. But now we've got a DLC of a DLC of a DLC, because this 80th anniversary thing is for Thomas, and Thomas is for West Somerset Railway. This thing is adding just 3 short narrative scenarios, 1 hour total of gameplay, and a new paint job for Thomas in his original green livery with his old number 70, and that's it. I initially thought something like this shouldn't be free, but after sitting with it, no, devs deserve to be paid. This definitely shouldn't be free, but $10? That's ridiculous. $5 maybe, but this is marked up way too high for what you're actually getting. And the thing what's worse is how this wasn't even on the roadmap. It wasn't mentioned or teased anywhere, no lead or build up. This was the announcement. Meanwhile, the game is literally melting and falling apart at the seams. We've got memory leaks, blurry textures, crashes left and right, endless bugs. The game is a spaghetti code of a mess at the moment. And instead of prioritizing fixes, we're milking DLCs of DLCs of DLCs. I get it, Thomas probably made them good money. It's a smart business partnership. I'm sure it brought in a lot of new, younger players as well. But that was really my worry from the beginning. Seeing a literal kid's toy in a sim like this with no expert mode, just simplified controls, that worries me that TSW is shifting away from realism. This is a simulator. I want it to keep pushing boundaries, not dumbing things down for a different audience. Since I never actually got to speak on Thomas before when it was originally released, as I wasn't uploading at that time, these are more in line with the thoughts that I had, but I do understand why we have Thomas, and I think that there is a place and an audience for Thomas, but I think those doubts and worries about what TSW could turn into because of Thomas are very so real and worth expressing. Alright, so now with that out of the way, let's go over some of the biggest highlights from our latest TSW5 patch. Keep in mind, this isn't the full changelog. I would normally cover that, but I don't have time today, and I would rather do this than not upload a video at all. So if you do want the full notes, I will have them linked down in the description box below. So starting with the Midland mainline, TSW5 track shadow improvements have been added. Steam emission is also back at Radcliffe Power Station. Aircraft obstruction lights were added to the thin chimney at Radcliffe. Stay Calm campaign posters were added at Leicester, Derby, and Nottingham stations, and new water materials have been implemented. Static stock at Beeston Yard was improved. So for the Class 158, guard mode has been added. Dynamic gangways were implemented and interior lighting was improved. The Class 43 HST EMT received an update to its wet materials to match the MK3 coaches. Support was also improved for free roam consoles placement and formation designer. On West Coast mainline Preston to Carlisle, the Class 87 now includes 5 new liveries: Intercity full yellow front, Intercity full yellow front with red buffer beam, heavily weathered Intercity half yellow front, Intercity half yellow front with red buffer beam, and Intercity full yellow front wrapped around the cab with black numbers and decals. Formation and destination naming for the 1V81 service has been corrected, and a new front loader vehicle asset was also added to the quarries at Shap Beck, Hardendale, and Shap Summit. For Zwala to Groningen, draw distance for distant factory scenery models was improved, and the ICMM Coplopper received several audio upgrades. Sun visor open and close sounds were added, a traction motor cab rattle effect was added at 20 and 70 kilometers per hour, new Deadman pedal sounds were implemented for both states, and internal chopper sounds were updated. And to one of the most important parts for me on New York Trenton, listen, the AI alerters are fixed. I need to go in my game and test this and see if they're actually fixed, because we've seen this in patches before where they've talked about the beeping on specific trains. They didn't seem to actually be fixed then, as the problem still occurred, but I'm thinking we might actually have a solution this time around, which just shocks me. I didn't think they were ever going to bother fixing this at this point. So again, those were just the major highlights. The full patch notes are linked below, and there is a lot on there, but I'm curious on what you guys think of this update, if there were any issues that you're experiencing in your games that weren't fixed, or if a lot of your problems were addressed in today's patch, and also what you think of the new Thomas and Friends DLC of a DLC of a DLC. What are your thoughts on that? Are you going to be picking up the new pack? That's going to be it from me for this video. Thank you guys so much for clicking and watching. Take care and happy rail simming, guys.